Happy weekend to you, NIO fam. It's Saturday, October 11th, 2025. It's early morning here in the US, and we got insurance registration data. So I wanted to share that in a quick video and break things down a little bit. NIO with 6,400 for the week of September 29th through October 5th. Here's the breakdown across the three brands. You've got NIO, the NIO brand with about 2,100, Firefly with about 1,000, and 3,300 coming from Onvo. And here is the breakdown for Onvo with the L60 and the L90, 1,800, 1,500 for each of those respectively. These are the rankings for each of those, the Onvo L90 and the Onvo L60 ranking in the top 20, both of them in this week. It falls in a holiday week, and I'm going to break that down here in just a second and offer my thoughts on that, because it looks to me like maybe 1 or 2 days were included in here on the delivery side of things, with the government offices being closed. And so anyway, more on that in just a second, but I wanted to share this as well because we've got an update and kind of a notification, a validation of what I had thought and had mentioned maybe in the comment section. I don't know if I talked about it in a video. The fifth generation power swap station coming out online around Christmas. Also an updated special edition model of Firefly expected with deliveries in November. Here's the China holiday schedule, and this is kind of the note that I want to start with. In China, when they do these long holidays, it looks like Saturdays and Sundays are often marked as additional office work days in China to compensate for long holiday breaks. And so in this case, you have the calendar, and that was in October 1st through the 8th, with 8 rest days in total. And then they've got adjusted working days. So this is like an asterisk is the way I look at it. So you've got September 28th, which is a Sunday, and then October 11th. And then down here, they've kind of got the breakdown as well a little bit further. But what I wanted to do is do the comparison between the actual monthly deliveries that NIO reported from September, so the 34,749, and then compare that with the numbers and the data that we have from the insurance registrations. And again, for those who don't know, I've mentioned this before, but my understanding is there are 3 work days after which, taking delivery, someone can get their insurance registration data filed. So if government offices are closed, obviously they can't get it done. However, having those 3 days means these numbers won't necessarily align perfectly on the monthly compared to the weekly. So this is the time frame. 6,400 is the number from September 29th through October 5th. And what we do know is from the data that I just showed for the month of September, NIO had almost 35,000. And so the 6,400 from this latest week, and then the 63, 62, 67, and 10.8 numbers that we had from September. And this starts from September 1st. So that's kind of helpful as well, where there's a little less guesstimation there. That total comes up to about 36,000. So it's a little bit higher than the monthly delivered record, which NIO announced. And so that makes me wonder if maybe there's possibly just 1 day, but maybe 1 to 2 days here with insurance registration data that actually carried over within that first week of October. We'll know more later in the month, and even next week we'll get more data that should help clarify things a little bit. And I didn't do the specific breakdown, but I've shared all the data. So if you want to look at the specific, let's say the monthly versus the weekly Firefly data, you can. But I didn't want to just end with that, because this is what's happening with respect to NIO stock and what we saw, especially not just with NIO stock, but across the market, the volatility. This is an interesting article and breakdown. And I've shared some other things, and let me know if you want me to share more, because there's a whole lot more to this than a lot of folks are aware of or realizing. And I don't think it's done playing out. I do have an idea of the time frame, but I also want to just kind of track things as we go. And it could mean more market volatility across the markets. So it makes things interesting, not just with respect to NIO stock, but with everything else as well, which is why I wanted to share it as well. So in any event, let me get this thing up and out. I wanted to just do a quick hitter and because I knew I'd have time for that. So the weekly data from NIO, 6,400, September 29th through October 5th. And that may have only, represented a couple of the days in October, maybe just 1 day in October. That's my thinking. And hopefully the way I explained and shared everything offered why I'm thinking that. So in any event, thanks for sticking around to the end. I'll see y'all again very soon.